Hello and welcome to the 49ers First and 10 podcast, 10 minutes of the most up-to-date 49ers news, first thing in the morning. I'm your host, Brianna McDonald, and I'm joined by 49ers team reporter, Lindsay Pilares. We are 4 days away from Super Bowl 58. Lindsay, how are you feeling? How has the Super Bowl week treated you so far?
It's been amazing. The only thing I will say, it feels like the longest week and the shortest week all at the same time because there's so much going on between the 49ers home base and also the Las Vegas Strip with opening night festivities and media availability. It's happening all at once. And there's also just a little bit of nerves, jitters, excitement, whatever you want to call it, because you want to get to Sunday and know how it all shakes out for this 2023 season, final game of the year. But also making sure to soak in all the wonderful things that lead up to it.
Yeah, a wonderful thing that went down was opening night on Monday, and we got to talk to the faithful all about it. So, what were some of your favorite moments from opening night? I'm sure that there was just a lot going on, especially from your point of view while you were walking around the stages and talking to all the players. But what were some of your highlights from that day?
Oh my goodness. I think the walkout was really cool. I know that just seems like such a simple thing, but seeing all the players, especially those that are experiencing this the Super Bowl experience for the very first time, you see the team walk out. There's just crowds are going crazy. We're hearing Brock Purdy chants, which we absolutely love. And then just so many of the players, coaches, they were soaking in the moment. It's kind of like what we talked about when they were just deplaning, arriving in Vegas. But you can just see how much this all means to them. And, they are doing their very best to focus on the game that is coming up Sunday. But these are mandated media appearances. So you might as well have the best time while you're there. And you got to see, I think opening night is known for just the very random, sometimes off the wall, out of pocket questions you get. But I think all of the players, the coaches had so much fun just answering things that are a little bit more on the lighthearted side. There were certainly, obviously, matchup questions and a lot of information about the game plan and how they're approaching things. But it did have an element of lightheartedness, and it did match the energy of just the event. We had a lot of funny questions. And if you haven't checked out 49ers.com. There's a really great piece that actually safety Talanoa Hufanga helped our content team out with. And he actually went player to player and did his own interviews while I was with another crew also interviewing players. You were on the mini mic. We had our social team on another mini mic. There's a lot of content coming out of it. So I can't wait for everyone to see all of it.
Absolutely. And speaking of these fun random questions that the team got, what were some of the funniest moments that you saw opening night, either online or that you actually got to see in person?
So I actually missed this and I'm really sad because I think I told you, I think yesterday morning, the day before, I don't remember, the days are blending together, but the Guillermo segment that happens every year, and I missed it, but he went up to Chase Young and had this, it was like a 7-layer dip, but millions and millions of layers. And it had carne asada, it had everything you could ever want. And I'm not sure what the exchange was, but seeing the pictures of this in Chase Young's face, he was just cracking up. I can only imagine, and I can't wait to actually watch the video online.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I can't wait to see it on TV also. But so one big media event down, and there's another one coming. NFL Honors starts tomorrow, and there's honestly a lot of 49ers members up for awards. Could you just recap everything the faithful need to know going into this one?
Yes, we have a ton of awards to be on the lookout for. So we've got MVP finalists in Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy. We have Christian McCaffrey is also up for Offensive Player of the Year. We also have Kyle Shanahan, who is up for Coach of the Year, one of 5 finalists. And then you've got Eric Armstead, who is also a finalist for Walter Payton Man of the Year. And then we've got another double up for FedEx Air and Ground Player of the Year. We also have candidates in Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy. So, oh, and then I cannot forget, we also have a Hall of Fame finalist in Patrick Willis. So, lots of awards to be on the lookout for, and we're gonna get all the answers. I guess in 24. Is it Wednesday? 24 hours.
Yeah.
Crazy to think about. I feel like we've been writing articles and hyping them all up for so long. I'm excited to see where everyone lands, and they're all so deserving. So, almost time.
Yeah, the day is almost here. And you will be at NFL Honors. What are you most looking forward to getting on the carpet and covering the entire event?
I'm just excited to see all the star-studded Super Bowl attendees. NFL Honors always, brings out some of the biggest names in the game, some retired coaches, big alum. So just excited to catch them on the red carpet and see what they have to say about the 49ers making it to the Super Bowl for the second time in 5 seasons. So yeah, just excited to see who we catch because one thing I've noticed, well, I mean, you should notice it every week, but there's just so many 49ers fans everywhere. And I'm just excited to see who's been a lifelong 49ers fan, an undercover 49ers fan, if they're, maybe like have ties to another team. You'd be surprised how 49ers fans come out of the woodwork. So we'll see who we grab on the red carpet.
Definitely, definitely. Now, the story of the San Francisco 49ers team throughout the entire season has been the long list of elite playmakers on both sides of the ball for the squad. But just how unique is it to have two MVP candidates on the same offense with Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy?
Yeah, this was during the first media availability, which happened yesterday afternoon. Head coach Kyle Shanahan just really had some time to reflect on a few questions, and this was one of them. When you've got such a high-powered offense and a team that has punched their ticket to the Super Bowl, he said that you expect to have these high-caliber players, but to have two MVP finalists that are so deserving and both on the offensive side of the ball. Um, it's a truly unique, it's a rare thing. You don't see it happen very often. And he just talked a little bit at length of just the impact that both Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey have had on this offense. Obviously, Brock Purdy has had this tremendous rise from being a third string quarterback last season, taking over week 13. And now he's just helped the 49ers punch their ticket to the Super Bowl. Then you've got Christian McCaffrey, who arrived midseason in 2022, and then this year finished as the NFL rushing yards leader, the scrimmage triple crown winner, and just who they are in the locker room. They're great locker room guys. They talked at length about, just so many players have talked about how both these guys fit right into this locker room. They consider them brothers. So you see just their impact on and off the field.
Well, I am, and I'm sure all of the faithful are so excited to see them in action this Sunday for Super Bowl 58 against the Kansas City Chiefs. But, it's crazy to think that Brock Purdy is just in his second year in the NFL with how he plays and how he carries himself. So, what's Kyle Shanahan's trust like in Purdy for such a big game and for him to be such a young player?
I think confidence couldn't be higher, right? Brock Purdy has shown you that he can win in every way over the course of this year. And, I think just his cool, calm collectedness, like just look at the last two playoff games, right? All the fans, ourselves included, were on the edge of our seats, but Brock Purdy and that San Francisco 49ers offense and the defensive side of the ball, all three phases, buckled down when they needed to and were able to orchestrate second half comebacks against the Packers and also against the Detroit Lions in the NFC Championship game. And head coach Kyle Shanahan talked about it. Brock Purdy really doesn't get shaken by much. And he said that he thinks a lot of that has to do with just how he carries his life. He, is deeply rooted in his faith, and that seems to be really the grounding factor for Brock Purdy. But regardless, he's a guy that really just doesn't get too high or too low. And he said that he saw that same personality out of him when he was the third string quarterback in training camp last season. Same thing when he took over the team. And then now through this entire 2023 run. He's just consistent. He has been incredibly consistent in who he is, how he carries himself. And I guess that is where the confidence comes from, because this big game, all the noise surrounding Super Bowl, nothing affects him in the way that you might expect.
Yeah, Brock's been the same guy. Well, we're excited to see him get to work this Sunday, but that will do it for this episode. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for joining me in this update. Don't forget to follow First and 10 on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Turn on the notifications so you're in the know when we post any breaking news updates. And thank you, Faithful, for tuning in.